All right, I call this meeting of the General Government and Finance Committee to order at 6:01 PM. This meeting has been given public notice in accordance with section 19.83 and 19.84 Wisconsin statutes in such form that will apprise the general public and news media of subject matter that is intended for consideration and action. Roll call, all members are present. We have one vacancy. With that, we'll move on to citizen input. Please be advised that you can come up and come up to the podium. Please fill out a yellow card. We're doing yellow cards for this too, right? Yellow card if you want to talk, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to come forward for citizen input?
Get the memo.
All right, so now it's on. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's different. Hello, everybody. Dan Knodel, Germantown, Richfield Court in Germantown, and for full disclosure, your state senator as well. So just stopping by tonight regarding your dispatch consolidation. I've expressed that I support that. And it's good to see that the village is considering these type of things where we can consolidate some services. And the important thing is there should be a savings financially, and service should not be jeopardized at all. And I think that would be accomplished in this type of situation. So just wanted to do that personally. And then going forward, I'll just mention I see there may be, or there's discussions about additional fire department and police department. I would also in those areas encourage to consider if there's any consolidation opportunities available with other communities or even with the private sector in providing some of these services that I would hope the board members and staff look at all those opportunities and weigh those out before you make any final decisions in that area. So with that, I thank you for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Anyone else wishing to come forward?
Okay, Melanie Smythe, N140W17938 Cedar Lane. And I would just like to say that I'm not really sure about the shared services. However, I think an opportunity may be for us to consider and the Washington County to consider having a satellite dispatch office in Germantown paid for by the county with the shared services. And we get the best of both by having people here associated with our police department, which is about to grow based on the way the budget is going. And that way there's still the connection that I think people are worried about losing. It shouldn't make any difference with the way technology is at the moment. And perhaps at some point in the future, it then gets shifted over when the county has space. I don't know if we don't even know if they have space for 8 people or whatever it is. So I'm just offering that up as a suggestion. Maybe it's an interim thing where it's here and then it gets shifted so that there's training and time for a decent transition so that things don't fall through the cracks. So just an idea.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else here for citizen input? All right, if not, we will move to consent agenda, and we need approval for the minutes of October 16th, 2023.
Move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes, October 16th, 2023. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There's no unfinished business tonight, so we'll move on to new business. Item A, resolution to withdraw from State of Wisconsin Service Award Program for volunteer firefighters.
Thank you so much. So we have been participating with the, I'm sorry, I was on this before. Okay, the Length of Service Award Program, which was established by the state of Wisconsin to attract and retain quality volunteers and emergency service personnel by providing a retirement savings account that receives contributions from the state of Wisconsin as well as the local municipality. We've been doing some research with the attorneys from Von Briesen and Roper for the last year to determine the legality of the those remaining in the program and if the village qualifies or not. And after further investigation and discussion, it seems we do not qualify. This all came about because of Q&A that was given to us by the Horton Group in 2022 included some information that I then reviewed further with the attorneys. So right now, we've talked to the attorneys about how we're going to deal with this with the IRS. And after everything that has gone on, they have said that we can just take the contributions from the those who are administrating it. And then we're going to make all those currently enrolled in the program 100% vested and distribute accordingly.
So how many people does this affect?
It's not that many. I want to say there's 8 people currently.
Okay, and they would, whatever money is left or in this would be distributed to them?
Yes. Yep.
Got it. And we really have to get out of this is what it is, right? It's
Yeah.
like we're not qualified to be in it anymore.
Yeah, we tried to look at it to see if maybe we could make it into like a 457 or something like that. That's why we were going through the IRS to see if we could just make it a different kind of benefit. But nothing really seemed to work. So they suggested that we just terminate the program.
Okay.
Yes.
Committee trustee Jan Miller.
And Aaron, about this program, these 8 people, you said you're going to fully invest all of them?
Yes, so not everybody is currently fully invested because it has to do with, numbers of years worked and a number of different factors. And so instead of, holding on to it for a number of years to go through the same process as the current administrators are doing, we're just going to fully invest everybody and then,
Pay them out.
pay them out. And just so you know, too, currently, when we do get employees, they don't know about this program up front, so they're not expecting it. So it's not something that's bringing in a lot of people. But especially now with us not qualifying, we really need to get out of this situation.
And what is the economic impact for this?
It doesn't affect the village at all because it's money that's been held by a third-party vendor for these individuals. So they're just giving us the funds and then we're
Dispersing it?
Yep, we're just dispersing it out.
So the village doesn't have to contribute any monies to the 100%?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Delane.
Yeah, just so everybody's aware how this works, per the union contract, they have to work at least 48 hours in the first year to be able to even be eligible for this. And they have to have 1 year credible service to even get entered into it. This was started by the department about 22 years ago to try and retain people. Most of the people that are still in it have either moved on or are now working enough hours to become eligible for WRS. Once they are in WRS, contributions were no longer made to any of the people currently in the program.
Trustee Kaminsky.
I'm sure it's in here somewhere. How much money is in this fund?
It's about 250,000, I want to say.
I think it was close to that, yes.
Let's do that again. That seems like an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
How are we gonna divest this to these people? I mean, 250,000 divided by 8?
It's somewhere like that. I think it's about 8. I'd have to,
What other
I
options?
have all the.
What other options do we have? Besides divesting and dividing it up for 8 people, $250,000.
So this is actually money that's been accrued for these people.
Yeah, it's been
Sometimes when they were
accumulating.
20-some years.
Yeah,
Okay,
And the village actually doesn't hold this money.
I understand that.
yeah. It's not ours to do with,
Okay.
like, we can't do anything else with.
And it's just these 8 people. What about people who have maybe quit in the last year or 2? They're not vested in this?
Some
if-
some of them are, that is correct.
Yep. So
They're part of it.
And it's still just 8. How far back do we go?
I think we started it in
If we could go back, it would be
2000.
22 years.
So
Yeah.
are we including all those people?
Some of them have pulled money from the program already.
Yeah, some have already pulled
So
it.
there's absolutely just 8 people that are gonna,
It's about
$250,000
It's
divided
about
by
I
8.
would
people.
have to look back on my list, but I have the number of years they served, I have a whole spreadsheet on how their vesting.
Nice
has been
program.
Going.
Yeah. So a little chunk of money.
Yeah, it was intended to be a retirement program for the volunteer fire departments. Like departments like Richfield actually use this as their primary retirement for their firefighters because they're a private company.
It's kind of like WRS for those who aren't eligible for WRS.
And, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
are some of these people now full-time employed by us?
Yeah, yes, they are.
And so they receive their retirement from us as well? I don't
Right. So
know
if
why
they
this whole
were,
thing
Ones
keeps-
The ones who are full-time actually have been terminated from the
they've been
program.
terminated from the program, but they did do, some do still have money in holding in it. Let's say they had a year on where they were eligible for this program, so they got their year's worth of money. Then they became eligible for WRS. That contribution stopped from the village and from the state's portion of it.
Okay,
So they weren't doubling it.
okay, and just because I don't understand this at all, let's say somebody was in this for 5 years.
Mhm.
And somebody was in it for a year and a half. You're gonna vest them? They're all gonna just divide 250 up? You're not gonna,
It wouldn't be
Adjust?
divided up. It's adjusted per each individual
will be
person.
adjusted?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, 100% invested or vested doesn't mean they get the same amount as every other person.
okay.
It's dependent on how long you work and.
Okay, with, if there's no other questions, we need a motion to push this to the next, to the village board.
I'll make a motion for the resolution to withdraw from the state of Wisconsin Service Award Program for volunteer firefighters and move it to the village board.
A second?
I have a motion and any further discussion? I think we had it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This won't be on tonight's village
Nope.
board, right?
Mm-mm.
Following one?
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item B, annual contract renewal with Municipal Property Insurance Company.
So this is a subsector of CIVMIC. So MPIC handles or covers our buildings and our property in the open. So some of these things are like not the vehicles, but like if there's like a trailer or different things like that. So those are considered property in the open. So I got the premium for 2024 quoted. It's about 9% higher, 5% increase because of property values due to inflation, and then 4% is a rate change due to a higher claims frequency and severity across Wisconsin. So the total annual premium comes to $75,151.
Committee?
I'll make a motion to approve the increase in the open pedo for, as presented. Not to exceed $75,151.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, discussion. Trustee Kaminsky.
I assume that there's no choice in this, correct? I mean, obviously, I get the inflationary part of it. Actually, I get both parts of the increase. But we are tied into this group for our insurance. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when did we choose them as our insurers?
We have only been with them now, I think this is our second year that
have a
we've been with
contract?
them. So, yep, it's just it's an ongoing contract that we get a premium
year by
value
year, you
year by
can
year. Yep. And if we
accept or
wanted to go
reject.
back out, we would do the same RFP process as we did when I
Mhm.
first started in 2021, at the end of 2021. And we would need to do that probably 4 or 5 months prior to the end of the year.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
Trustee Jamler, you got a
Yes.
question?
What is on this list, I'm on only page 8. Is this all of the, it covers all of the parks as well,
Shelters.
shelters?
Yes, correct. Those are considered pedo. Yep. Property in the open.
Okay.
Tennis courts, all of those things. Yep.
Well, I thought it was interesting that on page, what page, 33, that the Kinderberg Park shelter replacement cost is $31,500. And the Dinesville Fest Hall is replacement cost for $325,500.
So when we first started with this company, they came out and did a full assessment of our village. So they went park to park, building to building, to make the assessments for those items. So unless it's something that has been purchased or put in the last year, those values would then come from us. But other than that, that's values that they put together, and then I sent out to the department directors to review.
Seems,
You say page 37?
no, 3,
I need the page number.
up on the top. In the guide where it says
Oh, I
it's
see.
100% or print or download.
Because I saw Kinderberg
Yeah, that does seem
Yeah.
long, but let's not tell
Park Building.
Park shelter, yeah.
Oh.
them.
Shelter, what's the,
31,500.
well, the shelter, that's not the building. The building is 481,215.
Where's that?
Where is that?
Um,
Is that a
page
different page?
2 of,
Of the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, so they have
that's one of 11, but
okay, so they have the buildings on one page and then other stuff.
it's got to be a small shelter.
Yeah,
Yeah, there it
I
is.
don't know. I see. Okay. As long as it's, yeah, so because it has walls and everything, you can't, and it's brick, I don't think you could replace it for 31,500. Okay, that explains it.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and this has to go to village board for approval as well.
Correct.
Item C, resolution 2024 non-union merit pool.
So this is on every year. This is just basically taking out the portion that has been reviewed and looked at through the budget process. And then it's just a resolution for that merit pool. or the merit increases that have already been discussed. So once the budget, or if the budget is approved tonight, then this would go on to the next village board meeting for approval.
Okay, so this would be pending budget approval.
Correct.
And you're recommending these pay increases based on their eval scores. Is that?
Correct. Yep.
What page is that? What page is that, Aaron?
I don't have it up like you do, so I'm not exactly sure, but it's the,
I'm still on the MPS. Oh, here it is. Okay. 76.
yeah,
Okay.
I just don't know the page number in
I
the,
have a question.
Yeah.
I thought when we were putting together the budget, that we were talking about a maximum increase of 3%.
yep, and that's what this is. So together, this is the amount, that's what it's saying. It's saying the suggested 3% merit increase adjustment, and then it shows you the evaluation scores and the max of the increase based on the evaluation score.
Okay, but
Yep.
you have in the little chart here, 4%. How do you get 4% if we said the max was 3%?
Well, because we do a performance evaluation process. And so if, we take 3% of what everybody makes and put it into a pool, and then based on their evaluations, they could get 4% if they've gone above and beyond. They could get 1% if they haven't, if they're not doing so well. They could get a 2% if they're, just, doing, what's required, that's why we have,
Not a total wages, but it's distributed
Right.
based on this.
right.
distributed?
It doesn't mean that
Okay.
it's distributed at 3%.
Does each department get a pool? Or is it the entire village
Yeah.
gets a pool?
Well, we've done it by department in the past, but it really depends on what we're seeing. So Steve will take the department heads aside and have conversations with them after they've had conversations with their employees. So I mean, we think about the bigger picture instead of just department wise.
So it's not,
So,
Yeah.
so the budget still is a maximum of 3%.
Yes,
It's the
yes,
pool,
it doesn't
and
change the
then
budget at all. Mhm.
either you're doing a good job and you'll
Right.
get compensated that way, or you need improvement.
Yes.
How many employees?
I think we have on here, I think it says 85. Sorry, I don't have that document pulled up. Hang on. It's right in the resolution, so
oh,
85. Yep, okay, 85.
Okay.
Make motion. Approve the, the merit increases for 2024 as recommended.
I'll second. So we have a motion to approve. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, EMS billing agreement. Chief Delane's coming up.
For the last couple of years, we've been working on a month-to-month contract with Three Rivers Billing, who has been our billing company for the last 15 to 20 years. They are no longer in business as Three Rivers Billing. The owner of it suffered a medical emergency and the company was taken over. That also gave us a great opportunity to look into other billing companies. What we have here is paramedic billing. A company is called Paramedic Billing Services. Historically, we have been paying 6% commission on our EMS billing. Paramedic Billing Services will is offering us 3% commission. So we are going to
Nice.
essentially double what we collect from them. In addition to that, they have other services that they offer. It's kind of difficult. There are some things that we can bill for on the fire side. We really don't have the ways to do that. They do and will assist us with that. And they have a lot more metrics that we can follow as far as reporting that we can take advantage of through this company. So we are looking for approval to partner with Paramedic Billing Services.
Chief, I saw that a lot of this is going to come or go to them electronically. We're all good with that to transfer all that information for billing?
Yeah, we currently transfer it electronically as of right now too.
Yeah, 3% is, I was really surprised at that.
Nice
That's a
jump.
great rate.
Yeah.
And they look for all the collections, and I thought I saw that they don't get paid until we get paid, right?
That is correct.
So there's incentive there to collect.
Absolutely.
So I think it looks great.
Yeah. Um,
Trustee Jan Miller.
I was going to ask a question and now, do they use the only software I know that you use is ProPhoenix? Is that what they use or is this entirely different?
No, they can use what they utilize, what we utilize. All their departments that they bill for use different individualized things, and
Yeah, I saw.
they
like
just
five
transmit
departments.
our report to them, the finalized report, and they bill off of that.
Okay, they can download it and
Yep.
extrapolate. Okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions? If not, I would like a motion to approve this agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the EMS billing agreement for our fire and EMS departments
With paramedic billing services, right?
with paramedic billing service.
All
Yeah.
right.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion to approve. Trustee Kaminsky.
Is there a term of contract for this?
Was it 4 years?
We didn't look at that. 3 with an option?
We discussed a couple different ones.
Yeah, so we've discussed different ones so the one we're proposing is gonna be a 3-year term. We do have a 120-day back out period where if their services are not what we expected them to be, we could back out with no penalty.
Okay. And this, I see in here, it says the 3% commission was offered to the first 3 agencies in Washington County who came to PBS for billing. So obviously we're one of the 3 agencies. And that 3% carries through then throughout the 3-year term of the contract, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great, thank you. Item E, Kinderberg Park Playground Equipment Discussion and Action.
That would be removed
Oh, that'd be removed. Oh,
this morning that the equipment had sold. And the agenda, of course, was created on Friday, so that was unfortunate to the Parks and Rec department. The department head Gil was going to be, sorry, thank you. The department head, Gil was just advised this morning. I don't know if that was through an email that he came into or if it was by phone, but he reached out to the clerk's department advising us to remove it, please. But based on the fact the agenda and packet was already created and it was less than 24 hours,
yeah,
we would just like to have no discussion on it.
sounds good. That's too bad. That was a good deal. All right, with that, we'll move on to item F, ARPA Fund Review 2023 and 2024. And Matthew, I'm sure you're going to say a few things, but you did give us a handout for this.
Yep. So I provided a handout to the trustees regarding, the current state of affairs for the ARPA fund. That first table is the original allocations of those buckets that the village board had decided to allocate funds to. Over the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, the village has spent roughly $750,000 of their ARPA funds on various projects. That next table then moves on to approved projects that are either approved by the village board or, as relates to the budget, hopefully shortly approved by the village board. On the backside of the memo are proposed projects that staff and administration is recommending be funded through ARPA funds. They're not required to be through ARPA funds, but we feel they'd be a good use of ARPA funds to fund these projects.
This, can we ask questions?
Yes.
Okay. So the first, I'm going to call it quadrant, is for what was originally planned, correct?
Correct. Those large buckets that the village board had created.
And actually, the library condenser was for trees. We moved it to the library condenser.
Correct.
And then, okay, then street projects, I thought we lowered it to $500,000. Thought we took 250 out of it.
Not to my recollection.
Premium pay, hardware, elections, communication, building. All right, and what the Axion and Taser, that's for police?
Correct. That's for
Those are
the
the
body worn cameras and
body-worn,
taser
yeah.
contract. Correct.
And then we had to take the 100,000 for the firefighter, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That was a motion made at the last committee of the whole meeting.
Okay. So these are newer. Then the remaining, okay. 780. So the recommended projects on the back are the 780
Correct. Roughly.
roughly. Okay, we already have street projects. Why wouldn't the Highway 167 be in there?
Right. So that first table is the original appropriations. If you take the 2.1 million, subtract out the 500,000, subtract out the 250,000, that leaves math. Pull up my Excel sheet so I can cheat. About $1.35 million. Then if we look at the approved projects, we subtract that from that 1.3 and we get 780. So the 1.35 million is the accumulation of just the total balance of the ARPA fund as we sit today.
So essentially, we have 780,000 that we really haven't.
Correct. I
allocated
took
to
the
anything yet. This is just the recommended.
correct. I took all of the outstanding balances of all those buckets, and
Mhm.
that's where we get that 1.3 million.
Right.
And then I reallocated them to projects that were approved by the village board or maybe approved by the village board.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Janice sees the roads on both pages.
Yep.
750, and then on the back here, the 125 and the 80. And we're asking if that's one and the same, or is this an addition to that 750? That's how I understood the
Right.
question.
Why would it be different?
It's an addition.
It's an addition, correct?
Correct. For the purpose of this memo, I just took the outstanding balance of the ARPA fund, which is 1.35 million. And then I allocated that out to projects that are approved, the tasers, the firefighter EMT, pond inspection, outdoor tennis courts.
I remember
And I
this.
subtracted that from the total outstanding.
So there's a 750 still under roads, and then there is for recommended projects an 80 for Maple Lannon and 125 for Highway 167.
When is that state project supposed to happen on the Maple Lannon?
That's
That one has started.
next year.
Yeah, there's been some administrative costs to it. Nothing. I don't think there's been any, concrete or thing for it like that. But there's been roughly $8,000 of work done related to that project.
Right. So I guess my question becomes, yes, we allocated 750,000. That's a good chunk of the whole ARPA fund. Why can't it be allocated out of the 750? It just says street.
I'm probably not
It is a
explaining myself
street.
clearly
I
enough.
mean, we've only spent $8,000 of the
Right.
750.
Right. That's what I mean.
That will be coming out of there.
Essentially, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's my point. This
It's not in addition to the 750, it's part of the 750.
Well,
I wouldn't get too hung up on the buckets at this point. So the original buckets were $750,000 for street projects, you know, and various other buckets. Subtracting out the so we had 2.1 million in ARPA funds. We'll subtract out the $500,000 in 2022 and the $250,000 in 2023. That leaves 1.35 million outstanding.
mhm.
I got rid of the buckets and I allocated the projects just, you know, high level ARPA fund. And we subtract that out.
I understand now.
Yeah.
So really, we didn't spend 750 in street projects.
Haven't spent anything.
We really
Correct.
Spent next to nothing.
Mhm.
Correct.
Saying new buckets here, 205,000 of what's remaining could go into road improvement projects, the two projects here, Maple Lannon and Highway 167. That's the recommendation.
Correct.
So now I get it.
Correct.
Well, this is an overview and for
Yeah, it's
discussion,
not,
we're not,
Correct. Correct.
these
So-
are not approved budget.
so, and just to note, the 500,000 was supposed to come to GGF. And it was just labeled at one time in the very beginning,
Correct. I
building,
think it's building improvements.
building improvements.
Correct.
So we need to keep that in mind. So this could be done, a heavy duty discussion.
Yeah, these would all have to be approved yet.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Any project or contract would come before committee and ultimately the village board. I just wanted to provide a high level, you know.
This is very helpful.
All right, any further questions? I got it now. I get your mind of Matthew.
Mind of Matthew.
No, thank you very much. I got it.
You're welcome.
All
All
right.
right, that was good.
Anything else? Excellent. We'll move on to reports, accounts payable. Quite a few listed. 7, 8.
What do you mean?
Questions on the accounts payable or
Let's get out.
want to move on
Um,
budget to actual?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's go to budget to actual.
I have a
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, so the good news about this Tyler Munis report is it's got a great logo. Clearly, clearly you can read the title. We've got production, finance issues, financing uses. So I think at this juncture, since you said all of the numbers are not the same as MSI, correct? The count number,
Correct. The GL numbers are different.
GL. Can we get a new cheat sheet with what department is, what number and stuff like that?
Yep. I can certainly provide that.
Because, and did you want to reiterate why it seems like it takes an inordinate amount of pages to get to a conclusion here on some of these things? Like it's repeated, and I don't know if that's the accounting process where you get one page, it's this department, the next page, they're each individual pages, and then you get a total, right?
Did you want,
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm
did
following
you
the
want more
question.
of a summary rather than
Um,
account by
It's,
account?
it's okay to do it this way as long as I understand what, sometimes it says the department, like accounts 50, this is water.
It should say the department each time a new department's on a page. It should say it in the top left.
The abbreviations, I don't get.
Yeah, some of the abbreviations, we don't
Abbreviations like
get.
SA law enforcement.
But-
What is that? That's
Yeah, the top
672% over budget.
SA. What's the GL on that one?
What page are we on here? Hold on.
Just
Page 254 in the packet.
do the account, the 10, whatever it is.
Yeah, the 104.
Oh, I got it.
432100.
Two-
SA law enforcement.
Oh, it's state aid law enforcement.
Okay.
And so what I did for this budget to actual is I did the truncated, line descriptions. I can provide the full line description. So it would say, state aid law enforcement. The report's a little less pretty looking that way, but that's certainly something that
Well,
I can.
I think once we get the abbreviations down, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first time we're
But
seeing them.
in that, are you saying our state aid wasn't, or is not as much as we expected, or it's,
I'm still pulling it up.
oh,
What was the account number again? 1054.
1054, 1000, 432, 100.
432 100. So what that is saying is you look in the revised budget, we're saying we were projecting $5,000 of state aid for law enforcement, and year to date we've received 33,000.
Oh, so we got
Yeah.
more.
Correct.
So it's a,
Revenues are represented at
they're negative.
are negative.
Got to think backwards.
But our MSI didn't post that way, did it?
No, everything was posted as a positive integer.
Right. No, your integers. Okay, well, in the budget, are we, do we have, does this compensate for any audit discrepancies in this budget, 2024? Do we have any?
Well, this one's the 2020. Are you referring to
Three.
the 2023 budget?
Yeah, 2023. Does this have any audit?
No, there's
discrepancy?
been no audit work on the 2023 budget yet. So there's no audit information in.
But we didn't get the 2021 audit until this year, 2023.
Correct. Yep. There's nothing related to the 2021 audit within the 23 budget.
Okay. The 2022 audit is ready. Will that impact this budget?
No. Anything related to the 22 audit would have affected 22 GLs.
Then do you adjust those numbers from,
Yep. Those have all been adjusted already.
oh, really?
Yes.
Do we?
Those
do we
would have
review
been.
those?
Baker Tilly reviewed the audit or presented the audit, I believe, September 18th, and all those changes would have been made in the general ledger by then. I'd be
We're
happy
just
to.
waiting for their final report, right?
We're,
Correct. I have the draft statements. But they're pulling it all together. I'd be happy to print the 2022 year-to-date budget, and that'll be essentially part of the 22 audit.
okay. Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yep.
So, and the outlook for, so 2022 audit, there was a deficit too,
Correct.
over $1 million.
About 1.15. Yep.
How do we get off so why is it off $1 million?
There's a variety of factors for the 22 audit. One of them being interest earnings. Doing the mark to market, we show an unrealized loss of about $300,000. Note that's unrealized. We didn't actually lose that money. It's a book number. A portion of that was due to overtime for police and fire. A portion of it was due to increase in salaries that the village board had decided to do for public safety staff. I don't have the other factors in front of me, but those are probably the three largest factors. Oh, another factor was a payment for payment in lieu of taxes that wasn't billed in 22, but we received in 23. Those revenues get shown in 23 and not 22. That was about $175,000.
Then we'll get this same report next month, this monthly.
Correct.
I think if you could provide those, for, here's something on page, I'm on page 276. It says year-to-date report for the general fund. And it's got, it's 10. It's got building, gas, contract, and the original, I'm thinking it's budget, is 442,000. And then the year-to-date actual is 712.
Could you provide the GL one more time? My page numbers are
The-
different than yours.
Okay, it says, general fund 10 accounts,
Mm-hmm.
105, 8,100.
Just gonna pop over by you. I'm not sure.
I'm not seeing it either.
I,
581.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, got it.
580. Oh, you don't use the 10? Okay. It's inspection and permitting.
Yep. So that is the Safe Built contract. So that's the year to date we've paid to Safe Built for their services.
We pay this amount. And,
Correct. Correct.
and it says we're paying we've been paying them year to date over 200,000 over budget.
Correct. Correct. But we've also received more revenues than we had projected as well.
And what page would that be?
It'd be the page right above it.
Above it, okay. So then here we have, so the building permits says 676,000. That's the,
Yep, that's a revenue line for that. There's election permits, plumber permits.
so if you go to the bottom, then these are revenues?
So when looking at the general ledger, there's two columns. There's the 10,581,000, and then the next set of numbers, if it starts with a 4, it's a revenue. If it starts with a 5, it's an expense.
Got it, 4. Why aren't they broken up? So we know what the revenues are, it just keeps, blending itself.
So, great question. If you look at the bottom, it's not the same as it is in MSI, but if you look at total inspection, total inspection and permitting, it kind of breaks it out. These are all the revenues this department has received. These are all the expenses the department has. Here's where we are at the department level of funds available. It doesn't quite break it out by revenue, overall revenues and overall expenses. At least not in this budget to actual report. There's other reports we can run that we can do that level of analysis, but not for this budget report.
So there's not a lot in this fund then, if I'm looking at it right. Is it on the second page, the total?
Yep, and this is just this department, not the overall fund, just the department.
Right. Okay, I wanted to understand that.
Mhm.
So we can run other reports where we just get the revenues, we just get the,
Yep, there's a variety of reports we can run. Once access is given to trustees, if they'd like, I can show them different reports in Munis that they might find beneficial.
Just going to ask that.
yeah. And do you have contracts put in here in Munis yet?
I think there's only one contract in here, and that was for.
Waste management?
No, it wasn't. It was one that was recently approved. It was approved in September, and this is it was our test contract. So there's currently only one contract in Munis.
Well, if I can get that cheat sheet, I'll have a lot more
Absolutely.
questions. Thank you, Matthew.
Matthew, is 2022 in Munis? Or is that in the old system yet?
It is in the old system yet. We're still going through the conversion process to get all the 21 and 22 data into Munis.
Okay.
That should be the first pass. We should be getting that, in the next week or two. I think December 7th was the deadline. So I'm hoping to have it before then.
All right, if there's nothing else with the year to date, we will move on to payroll. Payroll is in the old system yet.
Payroll is still currently done through MSIS.
Any questions on payroll?
I don't have any right now.
All right, if not, that concludes all items on the agenda tonight. Our next meeting would be scheduled for the third week in December, which would be Monday, the 18th at 6 o'clock, possibly 5:30 if we have a larger agenda. Is that good?
The
18th?
18th.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right, and with that, we will adjourn at 6:52. Thank you.
Thanks.